We all love medieval movies, gladiators, Spartans, and epic battles. It's always fascinating to imagine how people lived such intense and exciting lives back then. But have you ever wondered what the Romans used to brush their teeth? Or that they used to relieve themselves out of windows? Sounds surprising, right? Well, buckle up, because things are about to get even more intriguing. Today, it's common to bathe at least once a day, a luxury we often take for granted, made possible by modern plumbing systems that bring water directly to our showers and bathtubs. However, this wasn't always the case. The convenience of daily bathing is a relatively recent development in human history. Historically, daily bathing wasn't considered necessary, especially during the winter months. Many people believe that during the Middle Ages, bathing was rare or even non-existent, but the reality is more nuanced. Let's explore what life was actually like during that time. Water was a precious resource, so people often shared the same bathwater. By the time an entire family had taken turns bathing, the water was filthy, making frequent baths, or even weekly bathing, a rare practice. Hand washing wasn't common either, and when it did occur, the water was often reused. Without proper sewage systems or public sanitation, hygiene was not a priority. Waste, including urine and feces, was frequently tossed from windows or dumped from buckets used as toilets. The Middle Ages were also heavily influenced by religious institutions, particularly the Catholic Church, which enforced strict moral codes that might seem absurd by today's standards. Public baths, one of the few places available for washing, were often segregated by gender and far from hygienic. Many modern sayings and customs have their origins in this era when cleanliness was a luxury. The lack of sanitation played a significant role in the spread of plagues and other diseases. Even the Palace of Versailles, a symbol of wealth and grandeur in France, lacked bathrooms. During the Middle Ages, toothbrushes, deodorants, perfumes, and toilet paper hadn't been invented yet. Waste was simply thrown out of windows with little concern for cleanliness or where it landed. If you've ever wondered why people in historical depictions are often shown fanning themselves, it wasn't just because of the heat. The real reason had more to do with unpleasant odors. Women's long skirts, designed with layers of fabric, trapped smells from intimate areas due to the lack of proper hygiene practices. Wealthy individuals could afford servants to fan away the stench while also keeping flies and insects at bay. The gardens at Versailles, renowned for their beauty, served an unusual and unsanitary purpose during royal balls. Guests often used the gardens as open-air toilets, leaving piles of human waste scattered amidst the flower beds, an unpleasant surprise for anyone strolling through the grounds. In the Middle Ages, most weddings were held in June, a tradition tied to the season's warmer weather and the yearly bath many people took in May. This led to the bridal bouquet's origin, not merely for decoration, but to mask body odor since bathing was infrequent. Eating habits of the time also came with risks. Pewter plates, common among wealthier households, could react with acidic foods, leaching lead into the meal and sometimes causing lead poisoning, which could be fatal. Dental health was another significant issue. Cavities, gum disease, and broken teeth were widespread, and relief often came from tooth pullers. Guy de Chauliac, a prominent medieval surgeon, advised avoiding spoiled food, eating fresh meals, and steering clear of extreme temperatures to preserve oral health. Surprisingly, urine was used as a mouth rinse, believed to combat tooth decay. This peculiar practice, dating back to the Romans, involved mixing urine with pumice stone for added effectiveness and was considered a form of dental care for centuries. In ancient times, pale skin was a status symbol, representing wealth and nobility, while a sun-kissed tan indicated manual labor. Queen Elizabeth I famously achieved her pale complexion by using a mixture of lead and vinegar, a beauty trend among the elite. Unfortunately, this toxic concoction caused severe skin damage, including lesions, yet it remained an essential part of many women's beauty routines, despite its dangers. We often take modern conveniences for granted, like the washing machine, which has saved countless hours of labor for busy families and individuals. But have you ever wondered how people cleaned their clothes in ancient times? In the 17th century, doing laundry was a major undertaking. The process began the night before, with clothes soaked to loosen dirt and stains. The following morning, they were scrubbed with hot water, soaked again, and repeated until clean. Instead of modern detergents, people often used urine, which may sound unpleasant, but was surprisingly effective due to its ammonia content. The practice wasn't unique to that era. Ancient Romans also used urine for laundry, collecting it from the streets to serve as a natural cleaning agent. It might have been an odd sight, but it was an efficient solution at the time. Wigs became a status symbol during the Renaissance and early modern age. Both men and women wore elaborate wigs, with even the philosopher René Descartes famously owning 12 different styles. The trend began with King Louis XIII of France, who popularized wigs to conceal his hair loss. This fashion soon spread among the middle and upper classes, making wigs synonymous with power and wealth. To achieve the voluminous styles of these wigs, women used wire frames to support the hair. The trend spread across Europe, from Spain and England to Russia. Beyond fashion, wigs were also practical. They protected wearers from lice and ringworm, which were rampant at the time. Today, carpets are a cozy addition to our homes, but in ancient times they served a very different purpose. Made from dense plant materials, these early carpets often became breeding grounds for rats and insects. Rarely cleaned, they could remain untouched for decades, creating unsanitary conditions that contributed to disease outbreaks. One of the strangest historical jobs was the groom of the stool, an important position in King Henry VIII's court. This individual was responsible for cleaning the king's backside and managing his personal toilet. Despite its unpleasant nature, the role was highly esteemed, with increased salaries and benefits for those who held it. Historical childbirth practices were equally bizarre. Eagle dung, for instance, was believed to relieve labor pain and was mixed with rose water and applied to the pregnant woman's belly. Unsurprisingly, it caused infections and tragically contributed to many deaths. Cilantro was also thought to speed up childbirth by accelerating contractions, though it had no real effect. Public health challenges extended beyond homes and royal courts. Overcrowded cemeteries in Paris led to the creation of underground catacombs to store human remains. Transporting bodies to these catacombs was a gruesome task, adding to the unsanitary conditions of the time. Reflecting on these historical practices makes it clear how fortunate we are to live in an era of modern sanitation, medicine, and technology. After learning about these fascinating and sometimes unsettling facts, you might never look at medieval movies the same way again. If you've made it this far, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. God bless.